Welcome to the Distinguished Physical Education Podcast, the show where we discuss how to create a rigorous, standards-based PE program that is safe and welcoming for all students. This is Gary Zaharatos, and today I'm excited to share the introduction to my new book, Becoming a Distinguished Physical Education Teacher, which is available on both Amazon and my website, www.distinguishedpe.com. If you haven't already, be sure to join our Facebook group where we have assembled quite a group of experts, always willing to share their insights and help out colleagues with their problems of practice. Simply search Distinguished Physical Education. Thanks for tuning in and subscribing, and keep an eye out for new episodes later this summer that will help elementary and secondary physical education teachers prepare for their first days of the new school year. Thank you for all the hard work you put in this year and all that you do for your students. I hope you enjoy your well-deserved summer break. And now I bring you the introduction to my book, Becoming a Distinguished Physical Education Teacher. Introduction. In August 2005, I embarked on my journey as a K-8 physical education teacher at a Title I school located just a few miles west of Phoenix, Arizona. My career began shortly after I graduated from Hofstra University with a Bachelor of Science in Physical Education. The decision to relocate to Arizona marked a significant shift from my life in New York, where I had spent my first 22 years. The move was prompted by the intense job market competition on Long Island, as well as a desire to escape the cold winters and humid summers. My educational background included 4 years of higher education, during which I immersed myself in educational theory, instructional methods, kinesiology, and exercise physiology classes, to name a few. I had also compiled a year's worth of unit plans, meticulously reviewed by our professors, and amassed a substantial collection of textbooks and activity guides to serve as valuable resources. However, despite these preparations, I faced a daunting challenge on my first day of teaching. 40 8th grade students eagerly awaited my guidance at 7:45 a.m. It didn't take long for me to realize that successfully navigating my first year of teaching would require more support than what a stack of lesson plan books could provide. Luckily, my hour-long commute each morning and early evening provided me with ample time to reflect on what I needed to do differently. Although I did come up with new strategies to experiment with, I realized that my growth as an educator was going to be slow-going without the support of someone who had already experienced success as an effective educator. During the second week of school, I asked my principal about the types of support available for a novice teacher like myself. "All new teachers are assigned a mentor," she replied. I thought, this is just what I need. She led me down the hallway, outside, and across the walkway, into the art teacher's classroom. While she was a nice woman and an effective art teacher who did all she could to help me, what I needed was someone with a background in physical education who had the time to help me plan, observe my lessons, and provide timely feedback. I wanted to improve quickly and become the type of teacher that my students deserved. I returned to doing things on my own, making the best use of the resources available to me. Soon came my first formal observation. I remember being in the middle of an ultimate frisbee unit. In the brief period that my assistant principal observed the lesson, the kids were actively engaged, getting along with each other, and no one got hurt. This is what an effective physical education lesson looks like, right? Turns out it was. I remember the feedback written on my evaluation. "Great lesson. Continue to develop your toolbox." Although encouraging, that wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Even though I may not have known it at the time, what I needed was the acknowledgement of my strengths, clearly identified areas of growth, and action steps to achieve them. It was becoming clear to me that most educators and building leaders were uncomfortable coaching and evaluating PE teachers. Maybe it's because they're unfamiliar with the content, or perhaps it's because best practice looks different in our gyms and on our fields than it does in classrooms. Either way, I felt like I was back on my own in terms of growing as a teacher. After 2 years of teaching K-8 physical education, I decided to narrow my focus on teaching middle school students and secured a position at a Title I middle school on the east side of town. Unfortunately, the type of support that I received largely stayed the same. I distinctly recall the first time I was observed early in my first year at my new middle school. A building leader stopped me one day during lunch duty and asked when we could schedule our wrap-up conversation. I hadn't even realized I'd been observed. He had driven by my class on a golf cart a few days prior, and in my memory, the wheels never even came to a complete stop. Needless to say, I didn't receive much actionable feedback that year, or much at all in the years that followed. There was one exception. In my 4th year of teaching middle school, we hired a veteran physical education teacher, Coach Crane. I learned more over the next few years of collaborating with Coach Crane than I did in the previous 6 years combined. Being able to co-plan, team teach, and debrief after lessons was exactly the type of support that I had been seeking all those years. Observing how another effective teacher communicates expectations and learning objectives, holds students accountable for behavior, and delivers lessons was an invaluable experience, one that I'm still grateful for to this day. In May of 2013, I moved to Denver, Colorado, a decision heavily influenced by my desire to once again live closer to my brother and to escape the scorching, seemingly endless Arizona summers. My plan was to spend the summer reflecting, doing a little traveling, and checking the job boards of neighboring school districts to see if anything caught my eye. I had heard about the data collected on teacher retention rates and the high percentage that leave the profession before hitting the 10-year mark, and I'd always promised that wouldn't be me. I was determined to find a role in Colorado to continue my career in education. One day, while scrolling through the Denver Public Schools job board, I came across a position titled Physical Education Peer Observer. The job description sought an effective physical education teacher who could coach and evaluate other physical education teachers in DPS. This was precisely the type of support I wished for when I was teaching in Arizona, and I was thrilled at the prospect of providing it for the physical education teachers in Denver. Without hesitation, I applied, and after a series of interviews, I was fortunate enough to be offered the position. I gladly accepted. Since 2013, I've spent the majority of my days visiting various schools throughout the city, observing lessons and providing feedback to PE teachers. I'm also fortunate to have the opportunity to work with building leaders, not only supporting them with our district's growth and evaluation system, but also in understanding effective teaching practices in physical education, enabling them to better support the PE teachers in their buildings. I cannot express how grateful I feel every day to support and advocate for the physical education teachers in Denver. It has been an absolute pleasure to collaborate with and learn from so many incredible people over the past decade. Whether you seek techniques on how to create a safe and welcoming learning environment or to enhance the delivery of your instruction, my aspiration is for this book to serve as a resource that you revisit often while refining your skills on your journey to becoming a distinguished physical education teacher. The first part of this book will concentrate on establishing an effective learning environment for students, laying the groundwork for the second half, where we will explore effective instructional methods for delivering content. The book concludes with chapters detailing the importance of teaching social skills in physical education before presenting real-world scenarios for readers to analyze and reflect upon. Let's begin by describing the essential elements for creating an inclusive classroom culture and ensuring an equitable experience for all students.